Magandang araw sa ating lahat. Today is April 27 na po, no? Monday na Monday. Hope everything is running smoothly sa buhay natin po. Kung sa mga Filipino communities natin dito po sa Malaysia, particularly dito po sa Sabah and very specific dito po sa Kota Kinabalu. Ito po si Nico Fabian once again inviting each and every one of you dito sa programa natin, daily program natin po. Walang hinto-hinto ito po from Monday to Sunday 24/7 yun unless kung may importanteng appointments tayo, then siguro we come in late or maybe we miss one episode, but as things has been going on for the past 2 years po, okay na okay ang programa natin. Bira lang tayo po mag-miss ang sabihin natin ang appointment ni Nico sa inyong lahat. Of course, I would like to say also good afternoon, good evening, and good morning sa mga overseas Filipino workers natin sa iba-ibang parte ng mundo. And salamat pagi, salamat patang, and salamat manam sa mga kaibigan, kababayan at kapatid ko po dyan sa Pilipinas. So today being Monday, I hope okay ang nag-start tayo ang semana natin or ang week natin po. Although this is of course another expensive week dahil sa presyo ng gasolina at saka mga bilihan dyan po sa Pilipinas po, no? Sa Pilipinas. Sige lang, tsaga-tsaga na lang tayo po. And I also noticed po hanggang ngayon po karamihan ng mga hindi naman confused, no? Medyo lang sila, worry lang sila po of what is happening dyan po sa Pilipinas when it comes to ang security aspect natin, ang economic aspect natin, at saka ang political arena dyan po sa Pilipinas. Medyo roller coaster, I will say roller coaster ang sitwasyon natin in these three aspects. One is security, two is the economy of the Philippines, and three is the political scenario, stability dyan po sa Pilipinas. Anyway, ang topic natin ngayon for this Monday, Blessed Monday po, or Blessed Day ito, for today po is we'll be touching about still. We don't know whether kung nasaan talaga si Saldico, ang fugitive, ang former representative, House of Representative o congressman natin dyan po sa Pilipinas, dahil he is facing maraming kaso po tungkol sa national budget, tungkol sa flood control projects po, maraming alam niya po. And we believe he plays a very important role, a major role dyan po sa scandal sa flood control projects and national budget natin sa Pilipinas, especially the national budget 2023, 2024, and 2025, where he was the appropriation committee chairman po, together with his body before po the House Speaker of the House, si Representative of Congressman Martin Romualdez, who is now also laglagan na sila ngayon po. So, let's talk about the location, whereabouts, updates ni Saldico po later on dito sa programa, because mayroon tayong dito video clip wherein si acting Department of Justice, Acting Secretary si Frederick Vida, hanggang ngayon po nasa Czech Republic pa siya, particularly dyan po sa Prague, and collaborating or coordinating, having meetings with the Czech authorities po to determine, to identify if it is possible for the Philippine government to bring home si Saldico po. Kasi yun ang order ni BBM, ni Pangulo natin po, mahal na Pangulo, si Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos Jr. But the question is, paano? Because we don't know kung nasaan siya po. We don't know kung nasaan siya po. Although ang gobyerno natin sa Pilipinas has been for the past few days, has been bragging na nahuli na daw po kay Saldico And according to the DILG, secretary, si John Vic Remulla, sabi niya, it's just, the other day, he was saying, it's just a matter of 1, 2, or 3 weeks po, babalik na po sabihin natin si Saldino. Saldino po. And shoutout muna tayo kay Danilo Retorta, who is watching ang programa natin ngayon po. Sa Danny Retorta, brat ko ito po sa Alpha Phi Omega, and he's watching from Zamboanga City. Blessed Monday sa iyo, Tol, and of course to your wife, si Neneng, and of course your children. I hope si Kate nasa Maynila na ngayon, and congratulations for her promotion po, and I hope she is doing fine, everything is okay, although nasa stage pa siya of adjustment pa po, kasi bagong appointment na naman po, bagong working place, and sana lang po she will adjust the soonest po, para okay ang CPA natin, ang CPA ni Danny Retorta po. Alright, yun po, we'll be touching on the thing, and the other thing we also be touching, or I will also be touching dito sa programa natin ngayon po, yun, nag-file na po ang asawa ni Vice President Sara Duterte, si Mans Carpio. He filed a complaint dyan po sa korte natin sa Pilipinas against ang Central Bank, against ang AMLAC, ang mga official po, because the other day, April 22 po, they divulge ang privacy, ang mga records ng accounts ni Attorney Mans Carpio, the husband of our Vice President, si Sara Inday Duterte, as well as that of Inday Sara Duterte during the impeachment hearing, impeachment complaint hearing of Inday Sara Duterte last week. That was April 22 po. I will share with you some information regarding this thing po. Okay? But before giving you or touching on these two topics po, I also want to share with you po, especially ang kung sino man dyan po sa Pilipinas, especially sa Zambasulta area. It means Zambasulta area, Zamboanga, Basilan, Sulu, and Tawi-Tawi, as well as nearby provinces po like the Zamboanga Peninsula po. Kung may mga relatives kayo dito po sa Sabah, and unfortunately, ang mga relatives niyo po, dahil nahuli sa kanila for violating Malaysian immigration travel requirements po, nakakulong sila ngayon po. Mayroon tayong dito kunting balita po, and although there's no guarantee yet po, but I just want to share with you because last Sunday or yesterday, I managed to talk to ang visiting Filipino friends natin po dyan sa Mindanao, and I am referring to no other than the BMEGA or Brunei, Indonesia, Malaysia, the Philippines, East Asian Growth Philippine Country Director, and I'm referring to no other than Mr. Popoy Laudin. Siya po ang BEBC. Apart from being the BMEGA Country Director, he is also the Brunei or the Business Council, BMEGA Business Council sa Mindanao po, He's also the chairman, si Mr. Laudin, or we call him Popoy, Mr. Popoy po. So I managed to talk to him, and sabi niya, during the informal conversation namin po, he was attending the International Food Festival dito sa Sabah po, to be very specific, dito po sa Sabah International Convention Center, dito sa Likas po. After my church, I went and see him personally to discuss some issues regarding mga Filipinas po. And ang target ko po, the issue that I targeted po sa kanya po is that ito po, mga more than 5,000 Filipinos who are presently detained, temporarily detained sa mga 5 detention centers natin dito sa Sabah for violation of the travel requirements dito po sa Malaysia. Ibig sabihin po, they are undocumented or illegal immigrants po, illegal Filipinos dito sa Sabah. So I was so very concerned about how can we help itong mga Filipinos. Matagal na sila po since January dahil mayroon nangyari po yon vessel ng Allison Shipping Line, to be specific ang Tricia 3, nalunod or it was sunk dyan po sa Basilan area, and that was, I think, if I'm not mistaken, on the 3rd week of January. And dahil dyan po, ang gobyerno, ang House of Representatives, I don't know what committee was that, they conducted a hearing, a probe, investigation, and they temporarily suspended all the operation of the vessels of Allison Shipping Lines. Unfortunately, one of the vessels of Allison Shipping Lines was flying the route between Zamboanga to Sandakan based on the BIM-EGA 1996 agreement with Malaysia, that this Allison Shipping Line has been appointed the vessel to come and pick up itong mga deportees po on a regular basis. And of course, doing some trading po. So, dahil sa suspension, last January, hanggang ngayon po, wala tayong deportation. So, tambak na po ang Filipinos dyan po sa detention centers. We have 5 detention centers dito sa Sabah. We have in Tawau, Lahadatu, Sandakan. We have in Papar, and we have in Kota Kinabalu. So crowded na po, and ongoing pa rin po. You cannot blame the Malaysian government. Ongoing pa rin po ang random checking ng Malaysian authorities sa mga people in Sabah to check whether they are properly documented. If not properly documented, definitely they will be arrested. And under the Malaysian immigration law, if caught undocumented or illegal po, you have to serve 3 months jail. After that, you will be waiting for the deportation. Unfortunately, mayroon din tayong mga Filipinos who were arrested last year and was supposed to be deported last January dahil suspend ang operation ng Allison po. Matagal na sila po, more than 6 months na sila po dyan sa detention center. Kawawa naman po, ang mga Filipinos. So during our my conversation with Mr. Popoy Laudin, so sabi niya sa akin, yes, Nick, I am trying to, we will work together, and let's see how we will help itong mga deportees, because majority of the deportees are coming from their area, itong Tawi-Tawi, Sulu, and Basilan. Although mayroon din tayo mga deportees coming from Zamboanga, but the number is not that big. So, ang mga barter traders natin dyan po sa Basulta area, Basilan, Sulu, and Tawi-Tawi, they had a meeting, and now they are discussing on the possibility on how to extend helping hands itong mga deportees po, so that they will be able to return back to the Philippines po, to the Philippines, and be united with their Filipino, with their loved ones and their families po. So, Popoy was telling me, he is suggesting that the barter trade vessel be used. So sabi ko, that will be very impossible. I think the Malaysian government will not allow this usage or use of barter trade vessels to come and pick up the deportees dahil po for safety reasons po. And it is stated under the agreement sa BIM-EGA po that it should be a vessel, not a wooden vessel. It should be a steel vessel for safety purposes po. They will be given a special pass to come and get itong mga deportees. So, according to Popoy, they will also be talking to the BARM authorities if it is possible, since the Manila government is not doing much to extend helping hands to these deportees. So they're looking at asking help from the Burma authorities. Maybe they will be chartering a private vessel and coordinate with the Malaysian government, particularly Sabah, to allow them to bring in the vessel and pick up itong mga deportees po, mga deportees. So I'm very happy na somebody in the Philippines now is very keen in helping itong mga Filipinos po, no? Mga Filipinos. Sabi nga ni Sir Popoy, sabi niya, we have been doing barter trading business with Sabah since time immemorial, and it's only but proper for us that we also help solve the problem of the Sabah government, Malaysian government po. Give and take, sabi niya po. So, I will be updating you po tungkol sa mga updates sa tungkol itong idea, suggestions ng BMEGA Philippines po tungkol on how to help itong mga deportees natin po, no? Mga deportees natin. Ako naman dito sa Sabah, I have been getting in touch with the local authorities po to also pass the message and see how I can help to accommodate or to facilitate itong plano namin po to help ang mga deportees to return back to the Philippines. Alright? So, yun ang latest updates natin tungkol sa mga Filipino. Let's hope and pray. No? Let's hope and pray po that this will materialize po. Dahil nakita ko po ang Philippine Embassy natin po when they were here last week, I was asking ang consular team na ano ang mga plano ng embahada. Unfortunately, sabi sa akin po ang third consul ng Philippine Embassy natin po, sabi niya, it is not under his jurisdiction because it falls under the Embassy's Transportation Department po. And until now, I still cannot get ang tao dyan po sa embahada sa Kuala Lumpur sa Transportation Department. No? I don't know. But anyway, medyo mahirap talaga tayo mag-contact ang embahada natin dyan po sa Kuala Lumpur. Anyway, let's try to look for other ways po on how to solve itong mga Filipinos natin po nasa selda ngayon po. No? Alright. So, punta na tayo po sa topic natin tungkol sa order ni BBM. Sabi ni BBM po na ang order ko is to bring home si Saldico sa Pilipinas and let him face the music, ang mga allegations po, no? Let him defend sa korte ang mga kaso niya po kasi he wants that si Saldico now as things are moving, mayroon na siyang kaso dito o dyan po sa Pilipinas. And he's one of the mastermind dyan po sa flood control projects. Let me share with you a video clip. Interview dyan po sa Prague by mga Filipino journalists natin po. And kayo na bahala po, no? To make your own assessment or ano man po. Ang importante po, you listen to this video clip po para at least you will have an idea of what is really happening dyan po sa kaso ni Saldico. Nandito po, let's watch and listen to this. Alright? Nandito po. Sandali. Okay? Alright.
Set the record straight. Where is Saldico? Because the term of the Justice Department that he is under the jurisdiction of the Czech Republic is a very broad term. The jurisdiction itself, it can be anywhere as long as it's in the territory of the Czech Republic, or it can be in a detention facility. Where exactly is Saldico?
This is something that on that question I have no specific answer yet as of now.
Why, sir?
I have no relevant and validated information as to that fact. So I don't want to speculate, diba? Kasi that will lead to misinformation or disinformation. So hanggang hindi po natatapos yung pakikipagpulong ng report sa Czech authorities, sa representative ng Czech authorities, hindi ko ako nakapag-publicize ka.
Sir, so what was the base basis for the Philippines to say that he is still in jurisdiction when in fact we don't know yet where exactly the former lawmaker is?
Ito po ay batay po sa mga impormasyon na available po sa amin bago po kami pinahin dito.
Sir, so nire-relay lang ng Czech authorities na siya ay nasa under jurisdiction wherever that jurisdiction may be?
Ito po ay ang nauna na nga po, ang unang pakikipag-ugnayan na nakanap natin ay mula dun sa mga immigration counterparts at saka yung police counterparts sa ating mga iba't ibang ahensya sa Philippines.
So they actually admitted or sent the message to you that the Zaldico is in their jurisdiction.
Yung particular na mensahe, nirelate lang po sa atin ng ating immigration authorities at ng ating pong PCTs sa Amerika.
Sir, question po. Sa ilalim po at least ng Philippine laws, kapag merong na-apprehend sa border, let's say na walang enough travel documents, the policy is or the protocol is for them to notify the country of origin or nationality for them to extend assistance to Zaldico. I'm guessing that's how the Philippines got wind that Zaldico was arrested. Did Zaldico refuse the aid of the Philippines in dealing with that situation in the border?
I don't want to speculate on that kasi specifically what we got the information is from the immigration and the police authorities.
The bottlenecks when it comes naman po doon sa pag-release or pag-turn over ng Czech authorities kay Zaldico to the Philippines. Ano pong laws, domestic laws, are they citing kung bakit po hindi pa po nila ma-turn over agad si Zaldico if they have custody of him?
Wala
Philippine authorities. Wala pa.
Kasama pa yun. Kasama pa.
Sir, kailan po scheduled yung meeting nyo? I understand it's not going to happen today.
Yeah.
So it's next week.
Yeah. Going to happen today is hopefully very early next week. Very early.
Alright, yun po, narinig natin na si acting DOJ Secretary, si Frederick Vida, no? Frederick Vida. And klarong-klaro po, sabi niya po, we still don't know kung nasa loob, nasa Czech Republic pa si Zaldico, no? And in fairness naman kay, no, this is what I noticed, I observed. Ito si acting Frederick Vida is maganda din po how I look at him po, no? He don't want to speculate. Kung ano lang ang alam niya po, yun lang po he will be divulging or informing the public po. He don't want to jump into conclusion po. Hindi kagaya sa mga ibang government officials natin dyan po sa gobyerno, they say a lot of things nauna, for example, filing cases against Martin Romualdez, sabi ni Ombudsman Remulla, no? We are going to file cases. And nauna ang announcement before the actual filing of cases po. Sana, you file first and then you announce. Yun ang diferensya. Sa kapatid niya po, sa DILG, Secretary John Vic Remulla, the other day, sabi niya, okay, nahuli na. And it's a matter of 1, 2, or 3 weeks lang po. We will see Zaldico will be in the Philippines already facing ang mga charges sa kanya sa korte po. No? But, ano nangyari po? Nakuryente ba sila po? Ngayon, nalaman natin po na hanggang ngayon, the acting secretary of DOJ could not confirm kung nasa talaga po, nasa kustodiya o nasa sa loob pa ng Czech Republic si Zaldico. Although there was an incident, insidente po na nahuli siya po for violation of travel requirements, no? But we don't know if he was released after a few hours or he was detained. Si Vida cannot confirm that po, no? And he will be meeting with the authorities, if I'm not mistaken, today or anytime this week po. And sabi niya, just wait, and after my meeting, I'm going to inform the public on the updates po. So maganda yun po, ang style ni acting DOJ, DOJ Secretary si Vida, si Vida po. Okay, let me share you another video clip sa interview ni Vida, and nandito po, nandito. Let's watch and listen to this. Alright, nandito po. Alright, before giving you ang video clip, I would like to shout out muna tayo kay Inocencio Jr. Malubay Joven. Welcome and thank you for watching itong programa natin dito sa Nick Talk, The Real Talk with Nico. Nandito po. Let's watch and listen to this.
Basically, maraming bagay. Ang ultimate na naging is, diba, paano natin magkakaroon pa ng pagmumula ng cooperation para yung mga ganitong insidente, mas mapabilis, mamadali. Kasi alam niyo yung ang katotohanan nito, pareho natin Czech Republic at Pilipinas, diba? Pumirma tayo pareho sa UNCAC, diba? United Nations Convention Against Corruption. Ibig sabihin nito, maliwanag, nagkakaintindihan tayo, it's a universal truth, diba? Na pareho tayo, galing tayo sa corruption. So, ang ating paniniwala ay dahil dito sa umang na paninindigan ng dalawang makikaibigang bansa ay magtutulungan para mapanagot yung dapat sa
Sir, dun sa instrument of ratification ng Pilipinas, meron po bang exemption when it comes to the UNCAC's extradition article?
Sa pagkakaalam ko, I've yet to see the document. You need to verify, no? Pero sa pagkakaalam namin, it was 2006 time. We need to revisit the document.
So, sir, wala rin kayong information dun sa information for the instrument of ratification of the Czech Republic?
Wala pa ka.
That will be discussed in the meeting next week as well.
That could be discussed. I don't want to preempt yung but basically, the general scheme of the discussion would be paano maaayos yung yung ganitong sitwasyon, diba? Yung pag-aayos ng ganitong sitwasyon, paglalatag ng isang proseso, hindi lamang yung parang former congressman Saldi ko, yung similarly situated na sitwasyon na nananaguan yung akusado, at paano pa magkakaroon ng sharing ng cooperation between police authorities.
Alright, ayun po, narinig natin. And the next video clip, si acting secretary pa rin po, no? Nandito. Let's watch and listen to this. Alright, tuloy-tuloy natin itong interview sa kanya po. So at least, you will have an idea of anong mga updates tungkol kay Saldico o Saldico. Hold on po.
From that, that information is not visible. Paliwanag po sa information na nakarating mula po sa immigration at police authorities natin na nagkaroon po ng check po na si former Congressman Saldico ay nasa ilalim ng jurisdiction ng Czech authorities.
Sir, gaano po ka-recent itong information na to? Because yung iba po sa Pilipinas, some experts are saying that yung kung nasaan si Saldico may change day by day. Yung status ng pag-stay niya under Czech jurisdiction may change tomorrow, may change in 2 days. How recent is the information?
That information is relevant to me. Tuesday, nag-press briefing ako.
And what guarantee do we have that the Czech authorities could keep him in their jurisdiction? That he has no authority or right to get out of Czech Republic?
There's no such guarantee.
So there is a possibility that he may have gone out of Czech Republic already.
Possible.
And what would be the safety net, sir, kung sakaling wala na po pala dito sa Czech Republic si Saldico?
Well, we're exploring all things. Basically, ang pinaka-natin dyan would be the reporters.
Alright, narinig natin po, no? When he was asked about the is there any possibility na si Saldico wala na sa Czech Republic? Based on the knowledge of acting DOJ Secretary Vida, sabi niya, it is possible. No? It is possible. Maganda ang mga sagot ni Secretary Vida. It's possible. He don't want to speculate. He don't want to jump into conclusion, and he's just telling what he knows po to the public. Sana ganun yan po ang mga opisyales natin dyan po sa Pilipinas po. No? And mayroon pa tayo, isa pa video clip po. Mayroon pa tayo dito, isa. Okay? You listen to this.
I don't want to speculate na
Okay, alright. Sandali. Diyan, saludo ako talaga dyan po kay Secretary Avida. You don't want to speculate. You hold on po, nandito po. Hold on. Okay.
You don't want to speculate na premature, no? Of course, it could be a reality 5 days from now after the meeting, di ba? Could be a reality. I'll report to you again after my meeting with kung ano yung validator na verify natin. But again, we move forward based on empirical data, based on what's true. That's why mahalaga malaman yung facts, di ba? Then, from there, we can move forward. May disappointment, possible, di ba? Kasi mataas nga, mas hindi yung pagnalasa. Pero, ang ipararating natin sa ating mga kababayan, kung ano man ang sitwasyon, di ba? Hindi naman bumibitaw ang inyong Department of Justice, di ba? Narito ako ng Secretary natin si Chief State Counsel, di ba? Inaaral natin kung tamang proseso. Kasi ang tamang desisyon, matutungan lang sa tamang datos. Di ba? So we need to verify validate personal facts.
Alright, yun po, narinig natin, nakita natin po ang Acting Secretary ng DOJ, si Frederick Vida po. Saludo ako sa kanya. The way he answered the mga questions po, he don't want to speculate. Ano lang, nagsabi sa kanya po, that's the only thing that he will also inform the public. Nasa Prague pa siya hanggang ngayon po, we don't know when he's coming back. And ang utos ni BBM sa kanya po is, bring home si Saldico. But paano po? Paano? Kung wala na si Saldico dyan po sa Czech Republic po. Kung wala na si Saldico. Remember, maski nandoon pa siya po. Remember, we don't have ang Philippines and Czech Republic. Wala tayong extradition ties. So, when we talk about bringing Saldico o Saldico sa Pilipinas po, the soonest possible time, I don't think so po it is possible. Hindi kagaya sinabi ni John Vic, Secretary John Vic, within 2-3 weeks lang po, nandito na sa atin si Saldico, Saldico, It is very impossible. Ito ang problema ng mga politicians natin dyan po sa Pilipinas, mga government na cabinet secretaries natin po, They tend to give a lot of false or empty promises of false hope po sa mga Filipinos po. But anyway, ang mga Filipinos, they don't believe them anymore. I'm sorry to say that. Ako mismo po, I can honestly say na ang trust ko sa gobyerno ngayon po is medyo na-decline na talaga po. Because of what we heard since last year, kagaya yon flood control project, sabi ang presidente natin po, walang Christmas, they will be behind bars, mga kaso that they will be fighting against itong mga tao po involved sa flood control projects, sa national budget natin po. Hanggang ngayon po, wala. Hanggang ngayon, nag-away-away na po, nang laglagan na sila po, you see, ang sitwasyon ni former Speaker Martin Romualdez, si Senator Chis Escudero, lagdagan na ngayon. So, how to trust ang mga pronouncement ng gobyerno natin, especially from the President. Normally, when the President says something, majority of the Filipinos, or we Filipinos, because we elected him as a president po, we believe what he says. Kaya nga careful ang mga presidente po when they open their mouth. No? When former President Rodrigo Roa Duterte was the president po, nagtaka ang mga Filipino because ang style na po is totally different. When he talk using the language of yung mga criminal. No? And that was the first time we heard a president saying, kaya nga, talking that way. Kaya nga, saying hindi daw si Tatay Digong statement. Statementship, wala daw po, no? Dahil the way how he talk. But, the way how he talk and the way he act, karamihan ng mga Filipinos appreciated it po. Hindi, kagaya ngayon, magaling ka sa English, no? Magaling ka sa English, and lumalabas sa bunganga is mga empty promises, mga false hope, no? Mga false hope po. Yon ang problema ngayon dyan sa Pilipinas. Anyway, let me share with you a report. Ang next topic natin po, our final topic is tungkol sa filing of complaint against AMLAC, against ang Central Bank po dahil sa hearing proper last week, April 22 po, ang Committee on Justice dyan po sa House of Representatives tungkol sa impeachment of Inday Sara Duterte, impeachment complaint kay Inday Sara Duterte. Let's watch and listen to this. Let's watch and listen to this report po.
Pumapalag ngayon ang asawa ni Vice President Sara Duterte na si Attorney Manasseh Carpio matapos isiwalat sa impeachment hearing noong April 22 ng mahigit 6 na bilyong piso. Ang mga transaksyong dumaan sa bank accounts nilang mag-asawa, sabi ng Anti-Money Laundering Council, kaduda-duda o masyado yang malaki. Bukas, irereklamo ni Carpio sa Quezon City Prosecutor's Office sina BSP Governor Eli Remolona, AMLAC Executive Director Ronel Benaventura at House Justice Committee members dahil sa anyay paglabag sa Anti-Money Laundering Act, Bank Secrecy Law at Data Privacy Act. Nagsabuatan aniya ang mga ito para iligal na isiwalat ang mga classified confidential banking record nilang mag-asawa. Absolute at walang exception aniya ang pagbabawal sa paglalabas ng bank records na nakuha ng AMLAC. Puwerta ni Congresswoman Leila de Lima, wala silang nilalabag na batas dahil hindi ana saklaw ng mga pagbabawal ang impeachment proceedings. Tanging mga opisyal at empleyado ng mga bangko raw ang pinagbabawalang magsiwalat ng bank records. Punto naman ni Akbayan Representative Percy Sendanya, exempted ng impeachment hearing sa saklaw ng Bank Secrecy Law at Anti-Money Laundering Act. Imbes na magaksayaan niya ng papel at oras sa pagsasampa ng reklamo para pinarang daw ang bise sa April 20 ng hearing at doon magpaliwanag. Sinusubukan pa namin kunin ang panig ng ibang irereklamo ni Carpio. Jonathan Andal, nakatutok, 24 oras.
Okay, yun po ang news report. Kagabi yan po, kahapon yan po. Kaya nga sabi niya, he is going to file complaint today. Bukas, it means today po. Now, let me share with you more details regarding itong issue po, no? Itong issue ni Mansa Carpio, the husband of Vice President Inday Sara Duterte. Nandito po. No? Let me read you a news article coming from PhilStar. Ngayon po, no? The husband of Vice President Sara Duterte filed criminal complaints today po, April 27, against several lawmakers and Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas, Governor Eli Remolona Jr. over the disclosure of bank records during House proceedings last week. Lawyer Mansa Carpio filed the complaint before the Quezon City Prosecutor's Office against Remolona, Anti-Money Laundering Council Executive Director Ronel Buenaventura. Ito si Ronel Buenaventura po, bago lang ito po na-promote. Bago lang ito na-promote. Weeks lang niya, 1 or 2 weeks lang yan po, and then he already attended itong April 22 hearing ng impeachment complaint of Inday Sara Duterte, bringing ang mga informations about AMLAC po and members of the House of Committee on Justice. Those named in the complaint include Representative Gerville Luistro, Batangas Congresswoman, and the chairman of the Justice Committee dyan po sa House of Representatives, si Congresswoman Gerville Luistro. And sino pa po? Si Percival Sendanya, Akbayan Party List, and Chel Jokno, Akbayan Party List din po, and Laila De Lima, Mamamayang Liberal Party List. The complaint stems from the disclosure of bank records involving Carpio and the Vice President during House Committee on Justice hearing on the impeachment complaint against Duterte on April 14 and 22. Carpio is accusing the respondents of violating laws on bank secrecy, anti-money laundering, and data privacy. Based on the disclosures made during the hearings, Carpio alleged that the respondents conspired to publicly disclose and unravel bank transaction reports, account balances, and records belonging to him and Duterte spanning a 20-year period from 2006 to 2025. This disclosure, Carpio contends, occurred without his prior notice or written consent and proceeded despite a cautionary letter he sent to AMLC on April 15, 2026, objecting to any release of his private financial information. Let's quote him. Neither I nor my wife, VP Sara, has ever consented to AMLC or any of its officers and staff to make public any transaction reports in relation to our bank accounts, Carpio's complaint read. Carpio also described the move of the House Committee on Justice as a scripted efforts by the lawmakers to weaponize the AMLC for political black propaganda and harassment against the Duterte family. He said the committee facilitated the illegal move by issuing the subpoena and allowing the public disclosure during a widely publicized hearing. Carpio cited Section 8 of Republic Act 9160 or the Anti-Money Laundering Act, which states that the AMLC and its secretariat shall not reveal in any manner any information known to them by reason of their office. Diyan po ang sabihin natin ang sitwasyon. Let's see po what will happen po kasi nandiyon na po, nag-file na ng complaint sa korte and let's see po what will be the outcome, no? What will be the decision of the court. How soon? We don't know po, no? But definitely on Wednesday, dalawang tulog na lang po. And we will see po ang final, third and final. I was made to understand it could be the final hearing ng Justice Committee ng House of Representatives. They are conducting the hearing dyan po sa impeachment complaint of Inday Sara Duterte. And kung final na ito po sa Wednesday, ibig sabihin po, ang Justice Committee members will be voting for to show whether there is a probable cause on the impeachment of Inday Sara Duterte po. And isa pa po, I will be closely monitoring because I don't know if they are going to make a decision on Wednesday whether they will open the BIR box on Wednesday. Hindi yung pwede po mag-open po unless dyan po sa full-blown impeachment trial dyan po sa Senado. if they are going to open it, will it be a violation or hindi po? Depende yun po ang decision ng mga Justice Committee ng House of Representatives po. No? After they will vote, and I'm sure they will, majority of the Justice Committee po will go for a positive vote po. In other words, they will vote for there is a probable cause on the impeachment of Inday Sara Duterte. Pagkatapos yun po, ang Justice Committee will now send findings nila po sa plenaryo, and sa plenaryo po, they are going to, ang mga congressmen po, sa deliberation po, after that, they will be voting. They need 1/3 of the total congressmen po, no? We have 318 congressmen, and 1/3 is something like 106. And I'm sure po, ako din po, I strongly believe that they will be able to get that vote of 106 po to impeach si Inday Sara Duterte po. No? Last year, they managed to get something like 200 plus. But I doubt if they can get that much votes during the votation sa plenaryo po this year. And after that achieving the 106 votes, then they will transmit the impeachment complaint sa Senado, and the Senate will scrutinize it, will study it, and if everything is in order, then according to Senate President Vicente Soto, forthwith, immediately, they're going to open up a full-blown impeachment trial of Inday Sara Duterte po. A full-blown impeachment trial of Sara Duterte. And then from there, we will see. At the end of the impeachment trial, may votation na naman po. And ang votation, they need, out of the 23 or 24 senators, mayroon tayo sa Pilipinas po, they must have a vote of 16 senators. And yan po ang mahirap. 16 senators must have to convict or not to convict si Inday Sara Duterte po. No? Convict or not to convict po. So mahirapan yun makuha po. To convict si Inday Sara Duterte, mahirapan sila makuha yung 16 votes po. Based on the scenario ngayon po sa Senado. No? And remember, there is a 2028 presidential election. So yan po ang latest natin dito po sa programa natin, Nick the Real Talk with Nico. So siguro hanggang dito na lang muna ang programa natin. And sana lang po, maski paano, I managed to give you some updates regarding ang what is happening dyan po sa Pilipinas. And I hope it helped. It helped sa ating lahat po. Mga Filipinos dito sa Malaysia, sa Sabah, overseas Filipino workers sa iba-ibang parte ng mundo, at saka mga kababayan, kaibigan, at kapatid natin dyan po sa Pilipinas. So once again, si Nico Fabian would like to say thank you very much for making me a part of your day today. Malaysia, Sabah, the Philippines, God bless us all. Peace to the Philippines, peace dito po sa Malaysia, peace to the world, and I'll see you in my next episode. Bye, and you take care. I love you all.